Get ready to embrace debate. First Take starts now.
My debate partner, Stephen A. Smith, has proclaimed himself the mayor of South Beach. But here in San Antonio, I have been elected, well, unofficially elected, the mayor of this beautiful city. So, thank you. So, now I am back because my Spurs are back to avenge their Game 6 collapse in last year's finals. And all I have to say today is, go Spurs, go!
The 2013 NBA Finals begins. The Miami Heat and the San Antonio Spurs.
What you're looking at is two elite basketball teams going after it. Execution and competitiveness. That's what it's all about.
Parker on the drive, nearly lost it, still dribbling. Parker with 2 to shoot, just gets it off in time. And he banks it in! Pass stolen by Wade. Oh, gets in and throws it down. Green steps back for 3. Bang! The Spurs will head to Miami, up 3 games to 2 here in the NBA Finals.
We all have to play at a high level in order to keep the series going.
When you think you gave everything that you got to give more.
Rebound Bosch, back out to Allen, his three-pointer, bang! Blocked by Bosch, there'll be a Game 7. Inside Duncan, across the lane, Duncan misses the tip, no good! James pulls up, puts it in, back-to-back titles for the Heat.
Gave ourselves opportunities to win the game, we just couldn't turn that corner. For me, Game 7 is going to always haunt me.
For the 4th consecutive year, the Miami Heat are heading to the NBA Finals. The Spurs are headed to the NBA Finals to meet up with the Miami Heat.
We got 4 more to win. We'll do it this time.
They wanted this. They wanted us. We'll be ready for a challenge.
Game 1 of the NBA Finals is in San Antonio, and that is where First Take is. San Antonio, thank you.
Isn't this great?
I mean, thank you. I love it. Spurs skip, Spurs skip, Spurs skip.
Thank you. Thank
skip,
you.
Spurs.
Thank you.
San Antonio, thank you so much for having us back. We really appreciate it. And, of course, a big thank you from your unofficial mayor, Skip Bayless.
Thank you.
Our dear friend, our partner, the one you love not to love, Stephen A. Smith, is taking care of a family matter, but he will be here tomorrow. Do not fret. Stephen A., we love you. We miss you. We'll see you tomorrow.
We do love you, Stephen A., but we do think there's a little part of you that was a little afraid to be here in my city today.
He's a little afraid. I think he'll take that up with you tomorrow. But we do have a very suitable replacement. You guys may know him as the Cleveland Cavaliers point guard. I'm talking about Jarrett Jack. Thank you so much. Give it up for Jarrett, guys. Be nice.
For now.
They're nice to you for now.
For now, they're nice to me.
So you realize he nearly killed the Spurs in that playoff series last year for Golden State.
Yeah.
So he knows some Spurs.
Definitely. You know, tremendous playoff series we had playing against those guys. You know, even though they were the opponent, man, these fans were tremendous the entire time. And, you know, definitely a memorable playoff experience for me.
Okay, so are you ready to be better than Stephen A.? Because it's big shoes to fill as you sit here.
I got it.
You got it.
Easy work.
Easy work.
Easy
All
work.
right. Well, let's begin, shall we? Game 1, 9 p.m. Eastern here in San Antonio. Let's talk about the Spurs and the Heat, shall we? So the NBA Finals start again at 9 Eastern. The Spurs are the first team since the 1988-89 Pistons to make it back to the Finals after losing Game 7 in the Finals the year prior. LeBron James, I don't know if you guys heard this, says he's feeling a little slighted about all the Spurs talk. Let's take a listen.
Well, I mean, absolutely. I can't sit here and lie to you, Chris. We do. We feel slighted in the fact that, you know, the game did go, it went 7. You know, it went 7. It wasn't like it was 3-0. And, you know, they had us in Game 4, and we took it, and then we won 4 straight.
All right. That's LeBron's feeling on the situation.
Yeah,
How do you feel,
I'm about
Bayless?
to tell you my feelings on it. LeBron James, give me a break. LeBron James should feel eternally grateful for what my San Antonio Spurs handed to him late in Game 6 last year. And don't make me go through the litany of the collapse, because we all know Manu missed a free throw. Kawhi missed a free throw. Danny Green didn't box out LeBron on one of his missed threes and let him take another one and make that one. And LeBron James should feel eternally grateful that Ray Allen saved LeBron's legacy with that corner three-point shot to force overtime. Because, Jarrett, think about this. If that ball lips out, Ray's three, LeBron James falls to 1-3 in his finals. 1-3. And LeBron James then would have been viewed as the GOAT, and I'm not talking about the greatest of all time, the literal GOAT, the reason that the Heat had collapsed in Game 6 because LeBron had 3 very uncharacteristic, shocking turnovers in the last 6 minutes of that game. He missed 2 out of 3 late threes, including the one that could have tied the game, but he missed that, obviously, long rebound to Bosch, and we know the rest of that story. But to me, not only should LeBron feel grateful, he should feel blessed about what the Spurs handed to him and what Ray Allen did for him.
Wow. I mean, I don't necessarily. I think he may feel slighted in a bit. You know, it's a long process to win an NBA championship, and as we know, as grueling as it is, they were able to come away with it. Just like everybody here in Game 6, I thought it was pretty much wrapped up in the bag. I thought it was over, but you know, that's what you have teammates for. And Ray Allen came through and does what he's done his entire career and hit a tremendous shot for him. But in Game 7, you have to agree that, you know, LeBron did a good job of help carrying and setting the tone and taking his team to the championship.
So obviously he feels slighted because all the talk is about how the Spurs lost the finals as opposed to how the Heat won the finals. And I will give LeBron James this.
For that.
Game 7, he was extraordinary. Again, I got to give it up to him because he shot the heck out of the basketball from long range in Game 7. He made 9 out of 20 shots outside the paint, which is unusual for LeBron James. But I got to tell you, in perspective, the Spurs were so psychologically devastated by that collapse late in Game 6. I was impressed they even got out of bed to play Game 7. And they were a shell of themselves, even though it stayed close in that game. They were there for the taking for LeBron James. So I can't say, wow, what a great game Game 7 was for LeBron James, because my team was trying to get up off the mat. Is that
they
fair?
definitely were emotionally drained from Game 6. You know, putting everything out on the line that they had, especially going into an environment such as Miami, you know, hostile environment. You put everything out there for 48 minutes. Actually, they went into overtime, so, you know, 53 minutes, I guess.
Okay, so if LeBron, let's just do this. If Ray Allen misses the 3, how do you view LeBron's legacy at that point?
I mean, obviously it takes a step back. You know, it's a series as to where, you know, the quote-unquote big 3 has been there, and he already proclaimed that they were there not to win 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 championships.
Exactly.
And this would have ended up just being 1, and the only one he'd have won was in a lockout year. And that would have been something that, you know, definitely would have, you know, taken a step back in my eyes in his legacy. But, you know, they were able to overcome the deficit and, you know, walk on with the trophy.
All right. Well, look, the Spurs enter Game 1, which is tonight, obviously with the most dominant home win streak when it comes to playoffs. They've won 7 at home when it comes to playoffs by at least 15 points. So this is the question and what you guys want to know. Who wins this series, the chip, the title, and why? Jarrett, is for you.
They were so nice to me earlier, right? I'm going with Miami in 7.
Miami in 7. Hey, everybody. You at least got to give Jarrett some credit for the courage of his conviction to make this pick.
Especially in this crowd. That is true. You got to at least for this crowd. So
fire away.
Yes, sir. You know, I think last year, for whatever reason, you know, Bron had a couple games. I think it was Game 2 and 3, where he just struggled to be himself.
He did.
And with that, they used Boris Diaw to guard him in the bulk of the series. And, you know, no knock against Boris, but I just think that'll be tough for him to duplicate, you know, throughout this series.
By the way, LeBron shot 21% in the finals against Boris when Boris covered.
Exactly. But, you know, as my guy Stephen A. Smith would say, I think that was a mere aberration. And, you know, if Kawhi can't stay in foul trouble, they're going to have a tough time matching up with him on the perimeter.
But side note, you picked San Antonio last year, did you not?
I did. I picked San Antonio last year in 6. I thought they were going to be able to pull it out. I was almost close in my prediction, but, you know, I came a bit short.
Okay, so you talked about LeBron. What about his sidekick, so to speak? The guy I think is Batman.
I think Dwayne Wade is the key to the series. You know, last year he had a tremendous Game 4. And I think that was really the turning point in the series. You know, if D-Wade can come back and be the D-Wade of old, the one that we've known, the Hall of Fame player that he's going to be, I think it's going to be tough for San Antonio to deal with.
Okay, what did I say the other day on the show about Dwayne Wade?
You said he is dangerous.
He is dangerous. He is a bad man.
This is true.
I fear Dwayne Wade. I do. What did I say the other day?
Yeah.
I do not fear LeBron James.
Good.
I respect LeBron, but I don't fear him. I fear the guy you're talking about.
Yeah.
Later in the show, we're going to talk to the guy who fixes this guy.
Right.
Tim
Dwayne Wade. Yeah.
Okay. And we're talking about Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
And if he is completely fixed, it's going to be tough for the Spurs. But now it's my turn. I have been saying all along that this San Antonio Spurs team has been driven from day one of training camp to avenge, to right the wrong that was Game 6 last year. So for months on end, I have predicted what I'm about to predict once again. And I'm going to drive it home with a new T-shirt that we have today.
Uh-oh.
I'm going Spurs in 6.
What?
Spurs in 6. Spurs in 6. Spurs in 6. Spurs in 6. Thank you. Thank you. Now, why do I love the Spurs to win this series in 6 games? You talked about your X factor, Dwayne Wade. Mine is Manu Ginobili. Tell me if I'm wrong about this. From last year to this year, Manu is playing 5 years younger than he was in Games 6 and 7.
Yeah.
And I was the first to say after those games, he hurt me, man.
Yeah.
He hurt me. He came apart. That was not Manu that I'd come to know in clutch and pressure situations. He is healthier. He is driven. He's on his mission because I think he thinks he owes this team in this finals. And I think you're going to see Manu take it up 2 levels in this finals. Now, the San Antonio Spurs just fought uphill through what I thought was the deepest, toughest Western Conference playoffs I have ever seen.
No question.
Am I good with that?
No question.
Okay. They fought through a Dallas team that I believe would have had a chance to win the Eastern Conference this year if it had been in that bracket. Then they had to fight through the whole litany of stories.
Sure.
But finally, the Portland Trailblazers were tough. And how many people at our All-Star game?
Everybody picked
Portland.
Yeah.
5 games.
Yeah.
And then the nemesis, Oklahoma City Thunder. Durant, Westbrook, and especially Serge Ibaka in games as he came back 3 and 4 had been a problem they could not solve. They solved that problem. They won a Game 6 that even I did not think they could win in Oklahoma City, which I thought was the signature win of any team in the playoffs this year. So now they are as battle-tested as they could ever be going into a finals with 5 days to rest up. While the Heat, to me, the playoffs are just starting for the Heat. They coasted through what I thought was as easy an Eastern Conference playoffs. Mm-hmm. And I know you're a Cavalier, but hey, I thought your team had about as good a chance to just push the Heat a little bit, right? I mean, seriously, some of the teams, you guys were about as good as Charlotte was.
I appreciate those kind words, Skip. But, I definitely understand what you're saying. But I think that also plays into the Heat. You know, they've had moments where they've been able to rest their core guys. And with the Spurs, they have the battle tooth and nail throughout every series here. And as we all know, the rest in the latter stage of this season always helps. And, it's just going to be key to see how these guys come back after that tough series they just had with Oklahoma.
I give you this.
And hopefully Tony's healthy.
The Heat should be rested for this.
Yeah, no question.
Okay, now let's get down to what happened in the regular season on the road for both these teams. Why am I going Spurs in 6, which is by this new format?
In Miami.
2-2-1-1-1.
Yeah.
It's in Miami. Thank you, God, for that opportunity. So now they have a chance to go back and right the wrong in Miami thanks to the new format.
Okay.
The Spurs on the road this year in the regular season, 30-11. 5 games better than anybody in the NBA on the road. The Heat, the Miami Heat, 22-19. I don't think the Heat are nearly as good a road team as the Spurs are. Now, maybe if your prediction is right, they're going to have to probably win a Game 2. Is that where you're going?
Yeah.
Okay.
No
I'm not sure the Heat can win a Game 2 here. So, again, I definitely have the Spurs tonight, and I'm going to take them again in Game 2, and then we'll see what happens from there.
All right, gentlemen. So, listen. Spurs in 6.
Thank you.
Miami in 7.
Yep.
I'm saying Spurs in 7 because I think they want to do it at home. Our next guest is a Spurs legend. Number 44 hangs in the rafters at the AT&T Center here in San Antonio. I'm doing my banner for you.
I like that.
George Iceman Gervin, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you being here. You know this guy, Skip Bayless.
Oh, yes.
Yes, sir.
And
thank you very much for coming.
Pleasure.
And we got Stephen A's replacement. He might replace him for full time, Jarrett Jack. Anyway, but thank you so much for being here. Obviously, we went to break and you decided to pick the Spurs. Explain why.
Well, because I feel the Spurs is the best basketball team. You know, obviously I am a former Spur, but you know, I'm really thinking basketball, and I just think the Spurs just play great basketball. They done been here before. They done won it 4 times, and they know how to win this time of the year.
Yeah, this is the time of year to win.
So, George Gervin, I haven't ever said this to you before, but in the late 70s, you were my favorite player to watch, because it was a show a night. But I started looking at your stats last night, and I realized in 3 of 4 years in the late 70s, early 80s, you did attempt the most shots in the NBA. Now, you're winning scoring titles. And your team was very good. I don't know if a lot of the younger fans remember.
Yeah.
2 of those teams made it to the conference finals. But my question is, given the fact that the Spurs do share the basketball, unlike any other team that I've ever seen, could your game have fit into this Spurs system? Could you have played for Coach Popovich?
Oh, no question.
No question.
And the reason why is because Pop know how to win. Pop would have made me understand that I may have to took less shots to be more effective. And
wow,
I was
okay with that.
I'm all about winning. You know, obviously I shot the most during the 70s. But I probably made the most, too. So, you know, it all fit in. But, yeah, I could have played with Pop. I have a lot of respect for him. I like how he put teams together, and I wouldn't mind being part of a winning championship team.
And some nights you might get 14 instead of 34, and you'd be good with that.
Well, if I shot 4 or 5 times and got 14, I'd be real good with that.
Yeah.
Because it's all about percentage.
Yeah.
And I shot 51% career. So I think I would have fitted real well playing with a guy like Tim Duncan, Tony Parker, and even David Robinson, you know, for that fact. I think it would have made my game a lot more smoother, too.
And you might have some jewelry to show for it.
I might have some jewelry, you know, but I got some jewelry.
You don't have some jewelry.
Don't do that. Don't show them that this early in the morning.
Okay, I've heard comparison after comparison of you to Kevin Durant. Is that accurate? Do you see?
I see a lot of similarities. I mean, basically because of our size. You know, we don't play alike. I think that I had a lot more weapons than Kevin. I think Kevin is a lot taller than me. Kevin shot the ball a lot deeper than me. But I see some things that I can help him with, you know, as far as, you know, expanding his game. And, you know, again.
Like what?
I shot 51%. So if you want to find out how to shoot 51%, come ask Ice.
I love it.
Come ask Ice. That's all you got to do, Katie. Come ask Ice.
Kevin is not the strongest guy yet. Still looks like he hasn't matured physically. Do you think that he needs to post guys more?
I think, you know, playing with his back to the basket would help his shooting percentage. I think he'll be a lot more effective playing with his back to the basket. You know, I mean, the guys won't beat him up as much, and I think he'll get more free throws, you know, learning to play back to the basket. So, you know, that's just one example of, you know, of helping him taking it to the next. So he already, I think, the baddest guy out there. You know, I think LeBron's still the best.
Okay. But there's another bad guy in Oklahoma City who plays quote-unquote point guard, which I think is more shooting guard. And they degenerate a little bit into your turn, my turn, your turn.
You know,
do you think that you, Iceman, could have played with Russell Westbrook?
Well, I mean, I think I could. I mean, but I'm a little older now, so I think different. You know, you know, at this stage of the game, you know, I think West is potential-wise could be one of the best point guards of all time. Just understanding the game, understanding situations, I think that'll make him better. I think he can lead the league in assists. averaging 14, 15, and averaging 20 points. I think he had that type of potential. So if it was me and I was playing with him, I would encourage him to understand that, and I think it'll really make him a better basketball player.
Okay, but many, many nights, Westbrook attempts more shots than the MVP. KD.
Well, you know, if I was coach, then I'll say something.
Thank you.
But you're not.
Thank you.
You got a question for Iceman before we let him go?
You know, what would be the thing that would help try to help catapult Russ into, you know, these quote-unquote MVP conversations, or like you said, growing into maybe one of the best point guards of all time? What things would you do?
I mean, I think it's just understanding. I think the mental aspect of the game would help him tremendously. You know, obviously his physical attributes, you know, his ability to, you know, get up and down the floor, and just to understand the game. I think more mental than anything else would really take him to the next level.
So would it be more film study you alluding to?
I think more hanging out with veterans, legends like myself that he believes.
Ask Ice. Okay. He said ask Ice. I don't know. Did you hear him say ask Ice? I love it. Hashtag ask Ice, guys. I think he's asking for himself. You're an analyst, remember. You're not a player today. You asking for yourself.
You know, right. I got to switch my hat. That's
all right. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up one more time for Iceman. Is he not amazing? Our next guest, two-time NBA champ with the Spurs. After being selected number 1 in the 1987 NBA draft, he spent his entire career with the San Antonio Spurs. It's the Admiral, guys. Look at this.
Yeah, there you go. I hope that's not the same guy. That just makes me feel
Is that
old.
the same guy? Are you kidding me?
Oh, my God.
Look at this photo.
Yeah.
There is a photo of you with him when he was
when he was a little boy.
He'll do it after.
That's hilarious.
He'll do it after.
That's hilarious.
The rowdy crowd, they want him to sign it. You'll do it after. You know,
I'll sign that
a little known fact, and I'm talking to you because I get all your Admiral, because you were literally in the Navy. 2 active years,
that's
correct?
Right.
You were a lieutenant.
2 years active duty, 6 years reserve, yeah.
People don't know that's why you're so boss right now.
Yeah, well, yeah, my kids know that because I'm always bossing them
You're
around.
bossing them around. You're bossing us around here, too. Okay, so listen, the Spurs, obviously, is your pick. Explain why, sir.
Well, you know, I just think they proved it throughout the year. You know, game in and game out, they just proved how they can share the ball. They proved they can win even without their best player on the floor last series. So, you know, I just like their balance. I like their confidence. Coming back off of last year's disappointment, they have some nice motivation, so I think they're excited.
All right, some motivation, Skip Bayless.
Yeah. That was such a deep and insightful answer.
Yeah,
I need some help on this question. You obviously played at 7 feet 1 inches tall. You dominated the game, rebounding the basketball, sometimes blocking shots as well as scoring. Then I look at this Miami Heat team.
Yeah.
They finished dead last during the regular season in rebounding. They are dead last in the playoffs in rebounding.
Yeah.
They're middle of the pack in shot blocking thanks to an occasional block by LeBron or D. Wade.
Right.
Maybe here Bosh, there Bosh.
Yeah.
Can you explain that for me? What's the old saying? No rebounds, no rings. They got some rings with no rebounds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, you know what? I think they make up for it in their energy, and they do a great job defensively. But they have stretches. You know, I don't think they play 48 minutes of great defense, but I think they play enough. And especially in the Eastern Conference, you can get away with a whole lot more because the teams aren't quite as challenging. So, you know, I think they play enough where they're very active, long arms, they get in passing lanes, and if they can get some transition buckets, it makes the game a little easier.
I got a question here. I mean, obviously, you didn't get a chance to play against LeBron, so if you were able to put your coaching hat on, what would be your strategy going in to try to stop him or corral him as much as possible?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is cut down those transition buckets, man. If you give him 8 to 10 points easy in the transition, you're breaking your own back. And I think in the half court, you know, just good solid defense. I think our guys do a nice job. They're not going to give him open lanes going towards the middle. So, you know, make him work for every shot. If he makes shots all night long, if he makes those threes, hey, more power to you. If we lose that way, you know what, we deserve to lose.
Right?
Yeah.
So you played until you were 37 years of age.
37.
Tim Duncan is now 38 years of age. Let's just do the hypothetical. Let's say the Spurs do win it in 6 games. Tim has a championship, and he came to you for advice and said, what should I do, stay or go? What would you do? Would you advise him that it's a good time to go out?
Well, I think, you know, my situation is probably a little different than his. I mean, he has a team that they can win a championship. He's still doing a phenomenal job. He's contributing. Papa's managing his minutes. If you have a team around you that is still capable of performing at a high level, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised to see him come back. I think that'd be a great decision for him. His kids are a little bit younger than mine were when I retired. So I don't know. I could see him playing a year or two more.
So analyze his game at this stage of his life.
Well, I think he does a phenomenal job. I mean, when he needs to turn it on, he can. You saw that in the Thunder series towards the end. He can still post anybody up and score when he needs to. He still blocks shots. He's still a great presence. But the great thing is, I think, he has the support that he needs out there. He doesn't have to play 45 minutes a game. So I think it's an ideal situation for him if he does want to continue playing.
In a one-on-one game, who wins between you two?
Oh, man.
Oh, no.
You mean now?
In your primes.
In our primes. I win that one easy.
Wow. Wait, did you say easy?
Oh, easily.
Wow.
Yes. No, I think he's I give him credit. He's phenomenal on the block. But I don't know. When he first came in and we were playing a lot of one-on-one and
you teach him a little bit.
You told him. Just say it. It's okay.
But Tim is one of the best guys I've ever seen on the block. I mean, if you let yourself get down there and get posted up all night, I would lose that. But if we're playing one-on-one, we have to put it on the floor and get to the rim. I think I could beat him in that kind of game.
How many times do we hear he's the greatest power forward ever?
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to put him in power forward category.
Yeah.
Doesn't he play the center position?
Well, he's always kind of hated that, the title of center. He wanted to be power forward from day one, and so I mean that's how and that's how he plays. I mean, he's great away from the basket. He's great, at the basket. He's great back to the basket. So he just has the skills of a power forward. He can bring it up the floor if he needed to. He's got great handles, and so I think he sees a center as a more kind of an anchor guy.
Can I say this? Skip often talks about his Spurs in such a beloved way. He always says they're humble, they play the game, and that's all they want to do. There's no showy, and he says that's why some people feel
egos.
The Spurs are boring. But you sit here, and you are grace personified, and you really are an elegant man. We appreciate everything that you said to us. You really are.
No, but I give the franchise a lot of credit because they have embraced that personality. I mean, from the day I got here, Popovich and R.C. Buford, those guys have gone out trying to get people that really fit the right personality, the right mold. They understand what it takes to be a team, and our locker room has been hands down the best locker room to be in for 20 years. Wow. I mean, I had a guy, when I retired, a guy came to me after a game and said, "Hey, I cannot even believe." I used to play, with another team, and I came in here. Not even a comparison. I love being in this locker room. I love these guys. I love this atmosphere. So the
solid
team deserves
organization.
A lot of, it's just from top to bottom. They try to do the right things. Obviously, you see the love the community has for this team.
Yeah.
The team has the same love for the community. So, from top to bottom, I think they've done a phenomenal job.
And allow me to say about these fans, these are the best fans in the NBA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you. What I love about these fans is they're high-spirited, but they're never mean-spirited.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody hates LeBron or hates D-Wade, hates the Heat. They respect the Heat, but they love them some Spurs. Love them.
Absolutely. Our fans deserve a lot of credit. I mean, I've been here 25 years or so, just kind of around these guys, and I think I've seen us be booed maybe one time at home, and we deserved it.
Okay,
that was
fair.
25 years ago, but no, they're fantastic. They love you through thick and thin. You win or lose, you're going to have a celebration. You're going to have a party here.
The Admiral, give it up. David Robinson.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here. So gracious. We appreciate
definitely.
it. This year I really brought him in a lot. Other years has been, here and there. This year he's just been with me and really helping me, being able to do the things I want to do in my role on this team, and at times when I needed to do more, I've physically been able to do more. And at times when I needed to take a step back and not do more, then I haven't needed to. But he's been big in that. And, I thank him for giving up the time, to be with me, to be able to do that.
Yes, Tim Grover, one of the most well-respected trainers in the business. He trained the likes of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Dwayne Wade, keeping them both physically and mentally on top of their game. Good job, right?
I'm trying to keep working every single day.
You've been a busy man.
Very busy, but it's good to be busy. It's good to be busy.
And back.
So, Tim Grover, even though I have picked my Spurs to win in 6, I've said many times on this show, the man I fear, the X Factor, is a man you know very well, Dwayne Wade, because you are the X Factor behind the X Factor.
So
you have worked minor miracles with him this year to keep him upright and heading forward, and I thought he played sensationally well, especially lately for the Miami Heat. Could you give us some insight into how you have fixed him this year?
Well, it isn't really fixing. Fixing is not the right word. There were certain things that need to be maintained and working in certain ways and getting his body aligned again so he could do the things that he could do. It was a long laid out process for him to be as close to 100% for the Indiana series and for this series. This is what the whole year has been planned for, is these final 2 series. And last series he played extremely well, and expecting him to play even better during this series.
So give us some idea, stretching or different drills or what?
All of the above. I mean, there's not only the Miami Heat staff that working with him. I have my own staff that's working with him. It's a round-the-clock thing. We do everything from muscle activation to stuff on the basketball court to strength training to stretching to massage. You name it, it's being covered.
And are his biggest issues with the knees? Because we've heard all kinds of Achilles and calves and all sorts of things this year.
You know, at this time of the year, and Jarrett can tell, no one's 100% healthy, okay?
Yeah.
But when you put on that jersey, like Michael used to say, if I wear that jersey, I'm 100%. No excuses, everything. Everyone's got a little bumps and bruises. So you know if you have an injury to a knee, that sometimes you overcompensate and something else will happen. So that's, you know, certain things have happened along on the way, but nothing that we haven't been able to take care of.
So I definitely can vouch for Mr. Grover's workouts.
Yes, you can.
Spent a few times with him going into the draft when it was in Chicago, and you know his methods definitely aren't the norm, and I think that's what makes him special. You know, and not to give away too many secrets, but you know, I felt when I went into the combine that I was definitely prepared. You know, for everything that they were going to throw at me, not just physically but mentally as well. And you know, I'm definitely sure that he's doing the same thing with Dwayne.
So give us some educated guess. Nobody would have a better guess than you would. How much farther can Dwayne go? How many more years at a high level could he have left?
Oh, Dwayne could easily go another 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, easily another 4 years after
that
this
would be
year.
good news to this guy, LeBron James, I would think.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. You know, Dwayne understands that a lot of LeBron's decision could be based on his health.
Sure.
You know, they've put a team together that's very special, and in order for it to continue, Dwayne has to play at a high level. At LeBron, at this stage in his career, it's all about winning in the rings. You know, he's done all the personal accolades. Now it's just about winning, and that's obviously where he wants to be because everyone is chasing the man.
All right. Well, you pick Miami. What, in 7?
No, it won't.
Explain your pick and why.
This is...
Thank you for not letting me be alone, Tim. Appreciate it.
I feel like the longer this series goes, the better chance Miami has. Okay, and I also feel that as the longer the series goes, the better Dwayne's going to be. He is a pressure player.
Oh.
He is a pressure player. So I think as the games go on, he's going to want and he's going to be able to do more and handle more of that heat that's going to come in there. And I think that could be the difference.
Okay, so speaking of pressure players.
Exactly. I was going to say take it to him.
I love your 3 levels of stardom that in your books, Relentless especially. The cleaner, the closer, the cooler. Last time you were on with us, you still had LeBron in that second echelon. Obviously, Dwayne has proven to be in the top echelon along with Michael and Kobe. Is that fair?
Yeah, Kobe. Yeah. And, you know, we put Tim Duncan in that.
Tim Duncan.
Tim has to be in that. Listen, my client is with the Heat, but what Tim has done over the years and the way he's redefined not only his game but his body and his approach to the game. You know, you have a guy who's arguably the best power forward to ever play the game and willing to make the adjustments to let other people shine, but still at the end of the game, and it was seen in the OKC, at the end, I want the ball. Give it to me. I'm going to carry us where we need to carry.
So that's cleaner stuff, right?
That's 100% cleaner stuff.
Okay. What does LeBron James need to do intangibly starting tonight to rise into the top level?
Well, I mean, I think he has to do what he's been doing already. I mean, last year he took a major step. There were a couple of games that he put the team on his back. and he carried them to the victory. And in order to continue to do that, he has to do what he did last year. He just has to play LeBron James basketball. I mean, what happens is, I think when he tries to do too much, that's when things get a little bit out of control. Trust your teammates; they trust him. Share the ball like the Spurs do, and then I think I honestly believe that. I know no one's gonna like when I say this, but I still think Miami's gonna win this series.
Okay, so
that's fair.
How much intangibly has Dwayne done for LeBron over these last 4 years?
Oh, it's been huge. I mean, listen, LeBron had all the physical tools, okay? But when you have all the physical tools, you still have to have somebody teach you how to win, okay? And what Dwayne did, Dwayne taught LeBron how to win, how to handle those pressures, how to handle those pressure situations, not worry about what everybody else is saying. You play for yourself and you play for the organization. You don't worry about what everybody else is saying. You're never going to please everybody 100%.
Okay.
So go ahead, Jared.
With the three categories that you broke down, can you kind of expound on that a little bit more and tell what goes into each player being put in each position?
Well, each team, we have three categories. We call them coolers, closers, and cleaners. All right. Every team, every organization has to have those three individuals. You have people on your team that in certain situations they want the ball or they don't want the ball. Okay. You have others people that when you set a play and the play breaks down, you know who you can get the ball to because he's gonna make that situation turn out the right way. Okay, and that's what we call a cleaner. A closer is a person that you draw a play for. He sees a play, the play's run correctly. He hits he's gonna hit the shot. All right. The cooler on your team, the cooler is a person that either sets the screen or is a decoy.
Okay.
But he serves a purpose.
Glue guy.
Everybody, each one serves a purpose. If you have all the guys, if you have one category of all the same individuals, you're not going to win. And I think that's one of the issues that's going on in OKC right now. They're still deciding on who is the person, who is the man on that team.
They're deciding. Somebody might know already.
Okay, back to the Spurs. I would still put Ginobili in the top echelon. I would say he's a cleaner, even though he's not a starter. He's a cleaner. Is that fair?
You are 100%. I mean, when you look at the overall, you have to look at the overall work that he's done. His basketball career, he's been a champion going way back to when he was a teenager. I mean, they've won stuff back in Argentina, back in the World Days, in the Olympics, everything, and that's carried over. I mean, what happens with the Spurs, I mean, they have three players that I put in the cleaner category. I put Tim Duncan, I put Ginobili, and I put Parker in there. Okay?
So sometimes.
But they have the ability to know when to take over on certain situations, and I think the unsung hero in this series, if Spurs get over the top, is going to be Kawhi Leonard. I'm a huge Kawhi Leonard fan. He has a chance to be something special in this league. He really does. When he first came in, he was a person in college. He was a back to the basket guy, and he's just totally changed his game to fit into the system. And obviously, he has to be held back a little bit because it's still those three guys' team.
Right.
Last quick question. You obviously trained Michael Jordan at his highest level, 6 championships. Does Dwayne intangibly remind you at all? How does he remind you of Michael? Are there some similarities?
You know what? Everyone always says they compare Kobe and MJ. All right. The one thing I say, MJ played with his instincts more than anybody else. Okay. I mean, he trusted his instincts as his instincts trusted him. Dwayne is an instinctive player. That's what he does. I mean, he doesn't react to a situation when a certain thing happens. It's an instinctive movement. So to me, he's the closest thing I've seen to Michael in that aspect. Now, the work ethic is unbelievable among all three of them. And then everybody wants to know, hey, how do these guys perform at such a high level, not only from a mental standpoint, but also from a physical standpoint. And, fortunately, I've been blessed to be able to write 2 books. The first book I wrote was Relentless. It was how these guys think from a mental side, and now we have the new book out, Jump Attack, is what we use to get these guys physically explosive, not only vertically, but be able to move directions quickly and so forth. And, you know, Jarrett knows everyone thinks about explosiveness. It's not always going up. Tony Parker is extremely explosive, being able to stop and go change directions. Jarrett Jack, his one dribble pull up and being able to go as quickly as he can and stop up, that's explosiveness. And that's what we teach these athletes to do.
All right, Tim Grover, give it up for him. He says that unfortunately, Miami will win the longer the series goes, but at least I applaud your bravery in front of this crowd. It's the lovely Riverwalk. We're at the Hard Rock Cafe in San Antonio. I think the entire city came out. Everyone's here for you.
I can't hear a word you're saying.
I'm saying everyone's here for the unofficial mayor. Game 1 tonight, 9 Eastern. Who wins?
I got the Spurs in Game 1.
All right.
By a lot?
Spurs in Game 1 by about 10 points.
10 points.
Yeah.
Spurs Game 1 tonight. That's his pick by about 10 points.
Way to go.
He's just giving him that.
Okay, Game 1. I say the Spurs are playing at a much higher level right now than the Miami Heat because of the Western Conference playoffs. I say the Spurs are going to come out firing, hitting on all 12 cylinders tonight. I say they win fairly easily. I'm going Spurs by 15 points, 112 to 97. 112 to 97. And I want everybody to know Spurs in 6. Spurs in 6. Spurs in 6. Spurs in 6. Spurs in 6.
We want to know what you think.
6.
Remember, hashtag Spurs in 6.
ESPN Radio.
With the action on the court, the diamond, or the gridiron.
Comes alive.
The NBA.
The Miami Heat have won the 2013 NBA title.
Major League Baseball.
The Boston Red Sox have won the World Series.
The Bowl Championship Series.
The tide has risen again. The third time in 4 years.
Your home for the best in sports play-by-play.
ESPN Radio.